Hey everyone, welcome to my channel at the Craft Co by Lo. I am Lo. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this super cute farmhouse mini vase frame. And this was the selection for this week's Tutorial Tuesday. If you're not familiar with what that is, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Craft Co by Lo. Every Wednesday we have a poll where you all can vote and tell me what you want to see on the Tutorial Tuesday. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure you check that out. This is a very simple tutorial. There's just a simple list of materials that are needed, and I think we should get started. All right guys, let's talk materials. So what you're gonna need 3 of these canvases in a size 8 by 10. And this one in particular is one that I got from the Dollar Tree in their crafter section. If they don't have a crafter section at your Dollar Tree, you can also check in the frames section where they have the picture frames, and they usually have some already pre-printed canvas frames like this. You could use those also. So for the glass vases, what I've used are salt shakers. You can get these from the Dollar Tree. They come in a 2-pack, so you're going to need 2 of these. You can use any other small glass container that you find. This is another style that I found, sort of like a mason jar style. It's also a salt shaker. Found this at Dollar Tree as well. So any mini glass containers will also work well for this, okay? What you're gonna need is, you're gonna need some twine or some raffia, whatever material you'd like to make bows out of. And now this is something that you can make for a specific occasion if you want to, or something a little bit more neutral that'll go with any season, which is the way that I have it. So I used raffia. This time I'm going to use twine, but if you wanted to use some printed on bows with maybe a gingham pattern or buffalo check for the holidays, you can absolutely do that as well. Other thing you're going to need is paint, and I will be using just a regular white color, and this is a matte finish and it's also quick dry. And you're going to need a foam brush. These Gen foam brushes work really good with the style of sort of distressing. You're also going to need some sort of adhesive, so you can use a glue gun. You can also use a stronger bonding glue like a Gorilla Glue or a Crazy Glue. I will be using both the glue gun and the Gorilla Glue. And so that's our list of materials. Let's get started.
Okay, our first step is to remove the canvas material from the frame, and you can do this by either using a staple remover, or you can do as I've done and just pull it away from the frame. Just be careful because some of those staples do tend to pop up, so do that as carefully as possible. I do try to save as much of the canvas material, and you'll see why a little later on. If you do decide to leave the staples in there, that's totally fine because you're not going to be able to see it anyway. So just remove all of the canvas material from all of the frames, and we're ready for the next step. Okay, we have already removed all of the canvas material from the 3 frames. And just a quick side note, as I mentioned before, I do like to try to save as much of that canvas as possible. Basically what I do is I just trim down the sides, and then I'm left with 2 perfectly good pieces of canvas for another project. Okay, so this next step is going to be to assemble the frames together. I used some Gorilla Glue on the corners and in the middle of the frame for a stronger bond, and then I just went back and through the rest of the frame with just some hot glue. That bottom frame is going to be staple side up. The middle frame that's glued to that one will be staple side down, and the third frame will be staple side down as well. This way you don't see any of the staples on any way that you turn the finished frame. Just keep in mind that before you actually glue everything down, you may just want to put it all together and make sure it looks the way that you want it to look, because sometimes the sizes on these frames can vary just a little bit. Once you're done gluing that all together, just go back around and take off any excess glue that may have come up through the seams. All right, our next step is going to be to paint our frame. And at this point, if you wanted to sand it down, you can before you do any paint or stain. I am not sanding it down because I like the texture of this wood. It is actually the look that I'm going for, sort of a reclaimed barnwood type of look. So I'm just going to use some white paint, and I'm not going to do really a full coverage on there. It is going to be spotty. I do want some of that wood to show through. But you can paint this and stain this whichever way you'd like. And I am going to just be doing this one white color all over. So on all of the sides, on the inside of the frame, and on the back side of the frame as well. And then once you're done with your paint or your stain and you have it to the desired color, then you're ready for the next step. All right, now that our frame is painted on all sides, it's going to be time to work with our little salt shakers. I want one of the salt shakers to have a color to it. So what I'm just doing is putting some paint inside of it and just turning that upside down until I do get coverage on there. If you wanted to do all three, you totally can. Or if you wanted to even spray paint them on the outside, you can do that as well. Okay, the salt shaker that I have painted white is already dry. So now it's going to be time to assemble our little mini vases onto our frame. Sometimes this does take a little bit of time to play around with to get it just right. What I'm going to be using to adhere these to the frame is going to be that Gorilla Glue. It is a super strong bonding glue, and I think it just works a little bit better than the glue gun in this instance. So I'm just going to put that on the corners of the bottom of each one of the little salt shakers, and then just press and hold firmly for just a few seconds in place to make sure that that does bond securely. And as I mentioned before, some of the frames can be a little bit different in size. So you just want to make sure that before you glue these down, that you are using the flattest surface on that frame, just to make sure that you get everything set on there correctly. And then once you have that all secured, it is time to do the bows. All right, now that our frame is painted on all sides, it's going to be time to work with our little salt shakers. I want one of the salt shakers to have a color to it. So what I'm just doing is putting some paint inside of it and just turning that upside down until I do get coverage on there. If you wanted to do all three, you totally can. Or if you wanted to even spray paint them on the outside, you can do that as well. Okay, our salt shakers are now in place, and it's time to do the little bows. I will be using jute cord for this, and I'm just tying a little bow at the top of the salt shaker. But you could use ribbon, you could use raffia. That works well also. I've used that on a previous one that I made. Basically do any types of embellishments that you want at this point. You can put flowers in between the vases. And once you're done with the embellishments, we're almost finished with the tutorial. Okay, this last step is basically just going to be adding the flowers. What I'm using are artificial flowers because I have painted the inside of one of those vases. If you won't be painting them at all or painting them on the outside, then you can use real flowers with this. And that's pretty much it. Once you're done with that part, it's ready to just be displayed.
Hey guys, we've reached the end of this tutorial, and this is our finished product. I told you that it was super easy to do, and you can customize this so many different ways, from changing up the size of the frame to the colors on the vases, the foliage definitely to match a special occasion or different holiday. If you are able to follow along with us and make one of your own, please don't forget to tag us in your photos at the Craft Co by Lo on Facebook and Instagram. I would love to see what you come up with. Also, as I mentioned before, this item here was actually the product of voting for Tutorial Tuesdays. If you want to get in on that voting, we do it weekly. And you just have to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram so that you can see our posts, be notified when our posts are up. You'll see one on Wednesdays that has two options for you. And all you got to do is vote. Pick the one that you like the most, pick the one that you want to see, and then the following day the winners are announced. And that following Tuesday you will see a tutorial for the winning item. Thanks so much for watching. Again, if you like this, please, please, please like, share, and subscribe. You can also visit us on Etsy at etsy.com/shop/thecraftco by Lo. So if you're not able to make these crafts on your own, but you still like it, you can definitely get your shop on there. Thanks so much again for watching. We will see you again soon.